Hi Zoe.
Hi, Huishen.
Today is a chance for us to talk about our editorial illustrations for this very interesting article on boredom by Noor Asadel. Zoe, would you like to go first?
Sure. In the article on boredom, the author mentions that boredom is a kind of defense mechanism to manage extreme emotions. I usually find myself in sort of zoned out mental state when I feel bored. For example, I'm reading books, but I'm not really reading. I'm just mechanically repeating the motions of reading, flipping the pages, scanning text, without really engaging. It feels like my mind and body have split into two parts. My mind is shouting, getting moving, do something else, while my body feels glued to the sofa. At the same time, my mind starts wandering off to random thoughts, maybe about some little things in the daily life or even some more abstract thoughts. While this stage lasts longer time, some negative emotions will start to appear in my mind. I will start to getting down, become anxious, restless, and guilty for wasting time. And this is the inspiration for this illustration.
Thank you so much for sharing. So I guess the four paintings on the wall also have some special meanings, right?
Yes, of course. Like I just mentioned, these paintings show the negative emotions that hide behind my boredom. Those two paintings in the middle express how I feel zoned out when I'm bored. Just like I said, my soul and body seem to split into two parts.
That's impressive. So how do you think your illustration connect to the text?
As Joseph Shaw said, the text and the picture in the illustrated children's book enter into a variety of relationships with the illustration, fulfilling many functions within shared framework. He believes that the relationship between the text and illustrations in picture books is multifaceted and can have various functions within a shared framework. He emphasized four different functions of illustration, and after completing this editorial illustration, I tried to put myself on the perspective of an audience to analyze this painting again. I believe this illustration accords with one of the four functions, elaboration. Elaboration means that there's a direct connection between the illustrations and the text while also incorporating the illustrator's own understanding, providing additional context or depth. In this illustration, the audience can clearly see a bored girl lying on the sofa, which directly connects to the theme of the article on boredom. The paintings on the wall represent the negative emotions hidden behind boredom that mentioned in the article. These elements not only reflect the theme but also add my own interpretation, enriching the understanding of the narrative. This kind of functions open a dialogue between the author's words and the illustrator's vision, allowing audiences to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the story.
As an audience, I can definitely feel the cooperation between your illustration and the article. I have another quick question. How do you think your work communicates with the audience?
Just like Stuart Hall's diagram of communication he mentioned in his book, emotions or events must be transformed into stories or effective communication. In my painting, I attempt to connect with the audience by encoding specific emotions. For example, my illustration shows a girl in a state of boredom, which is reflected by depressing colors and her bored expression. When the audience decodes these symbols, they may resonate with the feeling of boredom, leading to their own interpretation.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I was totally immersed into your work there.
My pleasure. Huishen, can you tell us a little bit about your work for the article?
Sure, when I was reading this article, the idea of feeling bored is because that you can't fulfill your suppressed design impulses was kept repeated and enhanced into my mind. Therefore, I tried to capture that repressed and ambivalent feeling. Although the topic of the article is very academic, as I delivered it in a rather casual way. To impress with the writer, I decided to make my illustration straightforward for all kinds of readers. I created a two-layer narrative which the main persona light on top of the prohibited negative desires. As stated by the article, those impulses are often sexual or aggressive in nature. I use that as a characteristic of the internal world.
I guess the broken glass kind of feeling in the background is definitely helping that intention.
Yes, like a rough storyboard, I want to build up a screwy spiritual theme because it's often hard to be clear what is a true desire. Subconscious thoughts usually just flashing. I deliberately simplified the background narratives down to lines and shadows and made them subtle in color to present the internal world as blurred, fragmented, and indiscernible.
Yes, I can truly feel that. I'm also very interested on your main character. Is there any specific reason of having a girl figure?
As Adele said, childhood is a peak time for boredom because there are so many feelings a child is told not to have. It's naturally believed that aggression, depression, and sexual impulse are absolutely irreconcilable to a kid. So I juxtaposed those desires with a young girl in pajamas to challenge that belief. Like Nanette Hooksley said, incompleteness gives readers agency, pointing to ways for the readers to interpret the story. Although the girl is lying down, but her body is rigid, looks rather uncomfortable. Is the girl controlling the desires, or the desires already override the girl? I want to leave the assumption to the audience.
I think that's also what the writer is trying to let us do. Do you think your color palette is doing anything for your intention?
That's a great question. I was entangled with using either cold or warm color palette. The cold color palette creates a completely different atmosphere, which is instantly frees the picture and everything looks phlegmatic. Through this red magenta color palette, there's an instant impulsive and impetuous vibe. Those desires become irrepressible and uncontrollable, and the girl looks far more annoyed and uncomfortable. That's a feeling I want.
I definitely feel that impulse. I noticed that there's some strawberries in your design. Would you like to have a little talk about that?
Of course, that's actually a little Easter egg I left to the audience. When they read the article to the point Asada fainted, knocking over and falling into a crowd of strawberries, they will be like, oh, that's why, and may even connect the lion girl with the writer. I want that interaction with the audience while they read.
That was fascinating. I can see the whole illustration is done quite delicately. Do you think the aesthetic is more important or the message?
That can be a good question for all artists, especially nowadays many artists are pleasing the market rather than taking risk on deliver on ideology. Remember how Lawrence Segan said, where's the content, where's the comment? It's all style over content. As the nature of this work is editorial illustration, be coherent with the text is priority. Style and content should be complementary and work together for a successful visual presentation to the audience.
Thank you for your sharing. I think this might be the end of our conversation today. I'd love to have another conversation like this in the future.
Thank you. That was such a great experience. I'm also looking forward to our next chat. Hope to see you soon and bye bye.
Bye.